I felt exhausted at the end of the day. And I thought, is my soul refreshed today? No.
Jubilant Julie is an industry icon.
What kind of experience did my patients have? I think they felt like a number. Buy 2 syringes, get 1 syringe free. Well, since when are we in the business of selling syringes, right?
She started in medical aesthetics in 1999 when she founded the Disappearing Act in California.
Seeing half the patients and making twice as much was at least twofold more profitable for our business.
Today, she manages a team of 20, but her real passion is teaching.
To retain a patient, there's so many aspects to it. Having a plan so they look forward to coming back.
With a community of 50K followers on Instagram and a very successful Patreon, Julie also runs the hugely successful Heads and Breakfast in Oregon. Today we are discussing the importance of true connection to our patients. Hello Julie, so good to see you.
Good to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm fabulous, just absolutely fabulous.
What is your purpose doing?
Oh my goodness. Since I found my purpose at Inner Circle, it's been so amazing. I shared with you I felt my soul was being sucked dry every day by dementors. And now I feel like my heart space is full. I have more energy. I feel more vibrant, and I'm just enjoying life so much.
I love to hear that so much. It meant so much to me as you were speaking about that already on the live with Julie Horn. So cool. So if I only have changed one person's life at the Inner Circle, I'm beyond happy.
I think you changed a lot more than one. I know I'm not the only one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So
Thank
cool.
you.
So Julie, I'm so happy you brought up this topic, and I was thinking, I'm dealing with that every day because I'm leading here like 20 doctors, and we have this topic every day, how important it is to connect to the patients. And then we discussed this when we got complaints about whatever time and all these things. But I never brought that to life. And it's so cool that you remind me or suggested to do that on this podcast, because I believe it's one of the key factors for success in aesthetic business. So how did you came to this amazing topic?
Well, I learned it the hard way, and I remember thinking, heck, we'll make more money if we see more patients, right? And I remember just having 5 minutes, really 5 minutes with each patient, and kicking out all of the demand, and I felt exhausted at the end of the day, and I thought, is my soul refreshed today? No. What kind of experience did my patients have? I think they felt like a number. And it hit me one day, like I just thought, I know what it is. I'm not connecting with my patients anymore. That connection piece is missing. Um, I think that we're built to connect. Like, if we're not connecting, we feel alone, we feel empty, and I didn't like going home feeling empty. I was exhausted, and everybody was exhausted because it wasn't just me seeing 30 patients a day, it was my whole team. Even the front desk people. It's a lot of people to go through. And I think the minute a person walks through your door, they should connect with people as they walk by, as they get checked in. They should get a smile. They should get a smile on the phone. And when you're in a hurry and you're seeing too many patients, nobody feels good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I literally sat down with my team and had a meeting. And I said, hey, you guys, does anybody feel like they're connecting with their patients? And if so, how many patients a day do you feel like you're connecting with? And we all just, it was like a light bulb moment for our office, and we changed things radically. So Botox appointments went from 5 to 15 minutes to a half hour. Our filler patients went from 30 minutes to an hour, and as much as an hour and a half if it was full face. consultations, a half hour to 45 minutes. And even with teleconsults after COVID happened, we did an hour because it's harder to connect on your computer. Even though we're doing a good job right now, it's harder, right? So I feel like these little changes we made really made an impact on our entire business, and we did this
Cool.
a few years ago. Our income increased, and we were seeing less patients, and it was really an amazing revolution in our office.
Julie, let us know what are the key factors. What are you focusing on once the patient comes into your room?
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, the people putting them in the room are going to connect with them immediately. How are you? Touch their arm, their shoulder. Uh, don't stand far away. Look at them in the eye, and they're they're smiling and talking, and kind of having that emotional intelligence piece where they can pick up on their mood and their vibe if they're nervous, offering them some coffee or some tea or whatever. Just
I do still a lot of skin surgery, and I have a lot of elderly people. And what I always do first when I come into the room, because I know I have been a patient myself, you know that I lost my left leg. And the
yes,
first thing I do is, because I know they are nervous, they are full of fear. The first thing I do, I touch them at their arm or shoulder, look them in the eyes, smile, and find a first sentence that differs from the situation. But that is so powerful, just making them feel comfortable and relaxed. And I
yeah.
love what you say, because I haven't heard that from many doctors. They don't have this mindset and still keep some kind of distance. But go ahead, let me know what else you do.
Oh, speaking of distance, in this day of electronic records, it can be a barrier between your patient and you when there's a computer or a pad, a laptop, whatever it is. I make it a point not to ever let that sit between us. So it's over to the side. And I'm looking straight at them and talking to them. And then over here, I'm, you know, typing away, but listening at the same time and engaging, nodding your head, nonverbal, like, things like that. And if they particularly share something personal right away, I want to comfort them. I don't want to have that distance.
I literally even don't type in the computer within the first 2 or 3 minutes. I exactly start like you. I always start with a personal question. Where are you from? How are you doing? Sometimes it's retaining patients. I know something about them, like you wrote in your notes already. I loved it so much because it's exactly the way I deal with it. They have a dog, or they have kids, or they have a sick mother, whatever. And I make notes, write it down. I start with that. How is your mother doing? Oh, you remember my mother? How is your kids doing, your dogs? And I think it's so easy, but a lot of people struggle with this, and I only can recommend to work on that, because it's key.
Yeah, that's huge. And, when you see, like right now, we see 10 patients to 15 max in a day. And that's also easier to organically remember your patients. When you're seeing 30,
Absolutely.
40, 50 patients, how can you possibly remember that? But if you do, and you do decide to have less time with your patients, you can easily put it in your notes.
Yeah.
If you're still paper charting, no big deal. You can put a little sticker on the front, or on the front cover of your chart. Hey, she has 4 dogs, and something really important to know is maybe they lost a child, or they've just had a divorce, or you don't want to go in and go, how's your kids, when they just lost their kid a few months ago. So you have to have some sort of reminder, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump quickly into a business topic, while then going back to the patient's connections. Um, I totally agree with what you said, but how do you see that from a business perspective? Because do you charge more? Do you think you charge more by having more time? If you see 30 patients per day and everyone pays like 500, it's a different game than seeing 50 15 patients paying like a $500 bill or whatever. How do you handle that?
Well, it something magical happened when we changed and we had longer appointment times. And one thing is we didn't have to advertise anymore because we didn't need any more patients, right? We had just the amount of patients we needed, and they were referring their friends because they felt seen, they felt heard, they felt respected, cared for. And we don't advertise. We haven't advertised in years. And that was really, so that'll save you a lot of money, first of all. Second of all, they're gonna spend more money when they have more time with you. If you just schedule them for 15-minute Botox, y you're gonna miss out on the opportunity to do their lips, you know, 'cause we're very impulsive creatures. If we sit down for our toxin, and then we go, wow, you know, my lips are just kind of falling down. And uh, what do you think? Do you have time today to do my lips?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, I do have time. I have a whole hour with you today. And what about your cheeks? So let's talk about that. Do you feel? Look at your picture from 2 years ago, and how do you feel? And you know, you might do their cheeks too. So I found that we went from making a profit, because my goal with my team is $1,000 profit per hour, and that works for our particular business. And it was so much easier to do with one patient in that hour than it was with four patients in that hour, because you don't have time to do anything but a quick little squirt. And I don't we weren't connecting, like I said. So your patients need to have trust. You don't wanna have somebody walking into a room and shove syringes into your face and then walk out, you know? So it was a really interesting business move that was at least twofold more profitable for our business, seeing half the patients and making twice as much.
And I think what you right now saying is so important to our listeners who are spending tons of money for marketing and giving discounts or whatever. If you done that right, if you do it the way you do it, you get a ton of retaining patients. They come back with their aunties, mothers, friends, and you don't have to spend a penny for marketing. I totally agree on that. And the retaining patient is much more worth than and much cheaper, by the way, than any new patient you have to gain. So
Yeah.
for the listeners, listen to this. I think that's very, very important. Take your time, get the connections right. I always take a mirror, right? And depending on what the demand is and the question, but I take a mirror and explain the signs of aging step by step, show it, explain why it happens, when it's happened. That's very powerful because at this moment, say, oh, yes, how can we fix it? And then you're in already. And if a friend is with her, it's you probably just have two clients at a time because the
Yes,
friend then
oh,
wants to
yeah.
go through the same process, right? Oh, explain my face, what's happening in my face, and then
Yeah, I love it when they bring a friend or a mom or a husband or a child even. I mean, sometimes moms and sons come in or moms and daughters come in, and it's so cool. And the other thing I do that's kind of evil, I absolutely, when I meet somebody for the first time in the office, I hand in the mirror and I go, I know this is going to be really hard. I know it might even be very emotional, but I want you to tell me three things you love about your face.
oh, that's cool.
And it's so fun because they don't expect it, you know? And it starts the
That's cool.
whole appointment off on a positive note. And we're not I don't know about men, but women aren't used to complimenting ourselves. It's very uncomfortable. And a lot of times people will actually open up emotionally and say, I can't find anything. I, ca- and they start crying. And then that's connecting. That is the best way to connect is on the emotional level. So I challenge people to, if you're listening, challenge them to make them compliment themselves.
I love this. I will try this on Wednesday when I have my next
Yeah.
session. I think that's very powerful, very cool.
And I want to piggyback on what you said about offering discounts. I think if you're going to be offering specials and discounts every month, like we made this mistake, it was kind of terrible. We ended up getting people waiting for the specials and not coming in. We had people calling for prices in the whole area and not being loyal because they get in this mindset of calling for the best deal. Uh, and when you don't offer those anymore, you're gonna find that they're coming to you for the right reasons.
That's
And
exactly the problem. That, as you said, and a lot of retailers have this. People wait for the next Black Friday, for the next I don't know what discount week. And if you watch wisely and see the luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, they never discount for good reasons because it's a spiral. And I think you have, as you said, you have to come through your personality. Once you show your personality and you follow these strategies we just were talking about, you don't have to do it. People will pay
no,
the price, right?
yeah, yeah, and we get too much into, get buy 2 syringes, get 1 syringe free. Well, since
Mm,
when are we in the business of selling syringes, right? That's the rep's job. The Allergan, the Galderma rep, they're
yeah,
in the business of selling syringes. We are not syringe sellers. We are caring practitioners, and we're artists. We are human beings that want the best outcome. We are not syringe sellers. We are not unit sellers. So my entire team, we don't use the S word, with syringe. We just say amount of product, and we give them a price range. Depending on how much product we're gonna need today, it's gonna be between 1,500 and 3,200. And that's
exactly.
what, yeah, that's what they need to know. They need to know they don't want sticker shock when we're done, when they pay. And do you kind of do the same thing?
Absolutely. I never talk about milliliters and syringes because that's absolutely the wrong rate. Because it's leading to the wrong results. People learn to, oh, I only want one syringe. What can you do with one syringe? And you mostly can't do anything with one syringe, right? And I totally agree on that. We talk about results and outcomes and not on, or maybe on amounts, but not on syringes and units. I agree on that. Yeah. Julie, you were talking about the does. Are there some more does left you should do with your patient connections, and what are the don'ts
Oh, so do's and don'ts. Yes.
or do's and don'ts? Sorry for my English.
Yeah, it's okay. I know I don't know German very well, but I love listening to you talk. I could listen to you talk all day.
Thank you.
Uh, I think that honesty is the biggest do. If somebody want, like you said, the example of what can you do with one syringe, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say, with that syringe, it's wasting your money. You might as well spit in the ocean. It's like spitting in the ocean. It's not a lot. We need more product. And I'll just be honest, because I don't want them to pay $900 and walk out going, I don't notice anything. I just got a bruise. So
Yeah.
honesty is a big deal. Patient education is they need to be educated, and you mentioned it earlier about talking about the aging process. But I don't like to use big medical words with them. I'd rather use simple analogies like, "Hey, your face is like a table. Your bone structure is your table, and your skin is like the tablecloth." And as we get older, our table gets smaller, our tablecloth gets bigger, and that's why things like look saggy and gravity or candle wax melting. These things, it's not fair, but we lose our deep fat pads first, and then we keep these hanging on superficial ones that are candle wax. Then they understand that, and they're like, oh, so all I'm going to do is augment or augment's a big word. I'm going to replace the deeper fat that was holding everything up today. Little things like that. And I always say, like, it's like dieting. We lose our boobs before we lose our waist, and it's just not fair, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So those are the do's. Don'ts, I would say it's important to credential ourselves so that they know that they're coming to an expert. who dedicates themselves with continuing education, who goes to conventions, who goes all the way to Switzerland even to keep learning, right? They like hearing that, they like seeing that, and we can do that on our social media, our website, our Facebook. But don't brag. Don't say, I'm the very best in here. I'm the world leader. I'm a national trainer. I'm da 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 da. That turns people off. Nobody wants somebody who brags.
Julie, what are you doing with a complaining patient? The patient leaves your clinic and for whatever reason, she calls 2 days later, say, I'm totally unhappy, I've got bruises or whatever. What is your strategy here?
I usually pick up the phone and call them. Same with a bad Google review, a bad Yelp review. Those are all things that not only your front desk hears, but the entire world. You know, I mean, you could look at my Google right now and see a complaining patient, and you're a long ways away. So those are so important. And if I have a team
Are you
that will
able
call
to
them.
reach a Google, sorry, are you able to get the number of a Google patient and reach him? We have sometimes anonymous reviews and that's
Yeah,
difficult then, right?
those are the worst. Those are the worst. Uh, if it's a legitimate complaint, we'll know who it is by the review usually. Because again, follow up is a big do. Definitely follow up with your patient, and if you're busy, you don't have time. Your patient coordinator can follow up with them. Your office manager. Uh, but it's better to follow up before they start calling you and your front desk, because maybe their complaint is totally legitimate. Maybe they're upset because the front desk person was rude and you need to hear about it. Your office manager needs to hear about it. Maybe the front desk person needs to call and apologize. So, whatever their issue is, definitely address it. And if you can, face to face, if you can on a phone. Texting, I don't think is very powerful. I think a lot gets lost in translation. They can't hear how your tone of voice. They can't hear your caring voice. It's just words they're reading. And honestly, they might have dyslexia. They might read it wrong. They might get more angry. They might just skip over it. They're so angry they don't even read every word. So I think that we really should, if we can, talk to them either by voice or by face. And it's not easy. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves and maybe we didn't do a good job and we need to hear it. And that's not easy either.
Yeah, I agree. But what I do, like you, I take a complaint very serious. And in worst case, they get an appointment right that day, even if I stay longer or do it over lunchtime. Um, that's my strategy. And with that, I never ever even got a lawyer's letter or anything. I think you can manage to really stay clean with everything. If you take it serious, take them in very quickly, give him a phone call, whatever is possible at that moment. But I think that's very important. If you are arrogant and wait and even if it's a silly complaint that happens, don't take them serious. It can end up in big troubles.
Yeah. And that
Right?
circles back to the whole point of our
Yeah.
podcast today is connecting. If they're upset, that's it. We need to connect
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool. So, Julie, one part is you and your patient connections. You were mentioning in the beginning that your entire team has to, should connect and should follow certain rules. How you make sure that works? It's maybe easy with 5 people, but with like 100 or 120 people, it's you always have one or two who are not dealing with that and not, yeah.
Yes, and you, especially you could speak to this more than me. You have totally scaled it with your business. We have under 20 employees right now, but we just opened a new location in Oregon. And first of all, it's who you hire. You gotta.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's all because
Congratulations.
of you. It's all because of you. Yeah, but honestly, we have to hire people with similar ethics and birds of a feather. If you hire somebody that's different or odd in some way, It's probably going to happen more often, but we've all had those employees that we think are going to be great, but then they fall short. I think sometimes you have to trim the weeds out of your garden with your employees, because some people don't have these emotional intelligence skills. It's great to test for that in the interview, little subtle ways to see, how they read you, how they read people, uh, how friendly they are, because they might be putting on total airs in the interview. But you kind of know, right? If you have that one patient that I mean, sorry, that one employee that patients are complaining about, you kind of hear it again and again. And what we do is my office manager will talk to them, sit down and talk to them and see if they can change. And if they don't change, they get fired. You can't have weeds in your garden.
Are you doing that? Are you training them, or are you just have this philosophy of creating a good atmosphere and just letting it grow by themselves? The good, the way they connect to the patients and the way they create a good atmosphere around you. Do you?
I I just lead by example. It's most of it is things that every human being should already intuitively know, but I don't sit there, but maybe I should have a workshop on connecting. Maybe I'll play this podcast to my entire team. But
Why
uh
not? Why not?
I don't think I've ever sat down and taught and did a seminar or a training session on this. And now that you say it out loud, I'm thinking it's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
What we do is we have this we call it lunch and learn. So we offer free lunch, and then they have to sit down in the restaurant skins or whatever, and then we chat with them about about a topic that can be this or can be another topic. So that ensures that people are motivated to come because it's a free lunch and there's something to learn about. That's an
I
easy
don't
way.
have a Michelin star restaurant though.
No, you don't need it. You can order pizza or donuts or whatever.
I know. I know. I just miss your restaurant. I
It's
I can't wait till August again.
you will be here soon.
I can't wait. But yes, that's such I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, Dr. Felix. I'm gonna go back and say, hey, let's go to lunch and let's have a lunch and learn and let's
Yeah.
talk about ideas for connecting. And there's people on my team that are so good at it, and I bet they're gonna come up with ideas that I never thought of, and I'm gonna learn from them.
Oh, they
That
can do it.
Yeah, heck yeah, and let's talk about the frustrating patients, because but let's also talk about the ones that we look forward to see. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the ones that fill our cup. And I think we should talk about how to treat the ones that drain our cup too,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good idea.
And what is with phone calls? I think, or emails. That's another topic. And we have to work on that as well. And you know, that's the first touch point for the patients, email or a phone call. I think it's so important to pick the phone and to answer emails quickly and to do it the right way. And if you don't have an appointment that day, offer a new one, offer an alternative. That's what often not happens. No, we don't have an appointment with Jubilant Julie on Thursday. Well, then go ahead and offer something on Monday. That's what they don't do. And then the client says, okay, thank you, bye bye. And that's, having this, leading these patients into the right direction and offer an alternative if the required date is not available or
hmm
whatever.
Yeah, and we have a external uh, organization that comes in, a consulting. And I think that consulting lady that we hired is really valuable, because she came in and she did a seminar with my team and said, hey, when you pick up the phone, be sure to smile, um, and and be sure and just pretend like it's your best friend, and they have a problem and you have a solution. That you're going to find the solution. It's going to be fun to find that solution. So if I'm booked out for a year, which is because I've been doing it for 24 years. Hey, talk about Melissa. Melissa is just a superstar in her practice, personally trained by Julie. You're gonna love her. She got similar personality. She's so caring. And look on her Instagram and check out the work she's doing. And so they're finding a solution to the problem of not getting able to see the person they want. And that's your fault too, Dr. Felix, because since I left the inner circle, I don't see patients anymore. And
It's
I'm
good.
only teaching. I'm only teaching.
It's
So
good.
they have this call every day. I got to see Julie. Well, guess what? Julie's so happy now because she's teaching, and she's teaching eight of our providers all the time. And they're so good. I can't wait for you to meet them.
Yeah.
And they're credentialing the others. So yes, phone is so important. Emails, like you said, are a first touch point. And your emails better have a friendly tone and be at a sixth grade learning level
Yeah.
and not too wordy. They just need to be to the point. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Here's another thing I was thinking about. What we have is this, I think I talked about that in the masterclass. We have a spirit book. So every new employee gets our spirit book. And in the spirit book, all our values are written down. And I think that's very cool because that makes very clear where you're standing. And the introduction words you said might be enough. It doesn't need much, but like maybe 10 points, 10 values of your clinic or your personality or whatever. I think that's
So
my experience. That's a cool thing.
is the book something that patients pick up and look at?
No, the employees, every new
Oh,
employee gets our spirit book on the first day.
I
And we
like
please
that.
them to read it because, yeah, that's the spirit
Ours
of
is called,
SkinMed. And
I love it. That's so much better. Ours is called an employee handbook.
oh, well, but then it's in place. That's cool.
It's in place, but I like Spirit Book better. Ah, I
Cool.
love it. But it might be a good idea to have a little something on the table for patients too, like as in the
Yeah.
waiting room. Hey, these are our values, and
Yeah.
it's maybe mixed with some before and afters and favorite things. Like Melissa's favorite thing is jawline, and look what she does. And but on each page you can list some values. Our value
That's a
is
great idea. I pick
yeah,
that. I like that.
let's do
Yeah.
it. Hey, we're
Yeah.
brainstorming. I like our
Or
brainstorming.
on the monitor, most practices or clinics have a monitor in their rating room, so you can transport your values there. Because I think nowadays and in future it will be more powerful. People look for values, right? What values are you following? And yeah, that's good. That's good.
I
Oh,
love
it's cool. It's a cool
it.
podcast. We
Yeah.
inspire us.
Yeah, we're
Cool.
getting ideas, man. And our Instagram too and our Facebook, we can implant, like just subliminally implant our
Yeah.
values or
Yeah.
maybe out loud. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. I think that's very, very powerful and strong. Cool. We just were talking about waiting rooms. So I think beyond the people connection, which is the most important, it's also important that the environment transports your values and some kind of comfort. And yeah, what do you think
It
about
does.
that? We offer coffee, small chocolates, we have our own magazine, we have nice chairs, you know it.
Oh, oh man, now I want my own magazine. Yeah, and nice music, a nice scent.
Yeah.
The waiting room, it should never smell like alcohol, like a medical place. It just should smell just soothing and comforting and calming. Uh, some people have their own signature scent. Do you?
We have our own fragrance, room fragrance. Yeah.
That? Yeah, we're trying to find ours. Somebody in our office doesn't like one or the other, and but we'll get there.
Yeah, sure. But I think
Oh,
it's
I'm allergic
important to
to
have.
lavender or something. I'm like, oh. Anyway, it is
but
important. Uh-huh.
but it's branding. It's what people connect with your clinic. It's the colors, it's the smell, it's the
It's
surrounding, the
everything.
style. It's everything. Yeah.
And you're right, it should be the same as your values. If you're a fun office, it should have some fun things in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a serious medical clinical, then okay, that's great, but make it nice and clean,
Yeah.
and comforting. You should walk in and feel like you're engulfed in the values of the place. Yeah, and what do you think about when I'm just thinking like getting them to come back to uh, part of it is the front desk and when they walk in and how they're treated. But I think to retain a patient, there's so many aspects to it. Um, I think one of the tools I use is having a plan that they go home with. Like they look forward to coming back. Do you do that as well? Like a care plan or a recipe that you're gonna do, and here's the what we're doing now for your ingredients and what we're gonna do in the future. And so that they don't
No,
go somewhere else.
that's one of the big tasks we have to solve, and we were discussing this right lately, um, because a lot of patients want this. They ask, "When do I have to come back? When do you want to see me again?" And we just only say, "Yeah, well, Botox keeps like 4 to 6 months. Call us back." That's not good. And I agree on you. We need these plans. We need some kind of strategy to get them back. We were discussing already if we have an email going out, a newsletter, but we are still in the process of how to do that right. And I like the idea of giving a plan. That's very cool. Supported by, do you think, plan with some like skincare and to support your skin and use that for 4 weeks and then use this and then we see it's in on 4th of July or whatever.
Yes,
Is
yes.
that, yeah.
We did this a few years ago because I had a type A patient. She said, I just need it written down, Julie. I just need my next appointments written down. I need to get it all solid and in my book, in my plan. I need to have something to take home to look at. And I was like, oh, well, that's pretty brilliant. And it's just, gives them something to look forward to, and they know what to expect, and they know what to budget for. So we started doing that for our patients, just a piece of paper, step one, and that's what you're doing today. And then with this date, this date, this date. And some software programs are easy to find appointment dates from your chair. Like you just plug them in right now, like at the dentist. They give you your next appointment before you ever
Yeah,
leave.
yeah, yeah.
And we weren't doing that. We're saying, "Yeah, just call us back in a few months." And that did not work. And then they couldn't get in, then they're mad, and because they don't think ahead. And then it becomes emergency. Yeah, it becomes an emergency Botox appointment because they never got their appointment before they left. So, yeah.
Do you have a problem with no-shows? What we started now is they get an SMS a day before, 24 hours before the appointment. They get a reminding SMS so they know they have an appointment next day. That lowers the no-shows, because that's a problem, right? If two patients do not show up per day, it's painful.
It is. And we also, a few years ago, started charging a no-show fee. And that has been great. I'll tell you, I can't count on my hands how many times we've actually charged somebody a no-show fee because, if things happen, hey, they got a car accident. Hey, they got a sick family member. I would say, oh, well, we'll waive the fee. Absolutely. Yeah,
I
what'd you
just
write
wrote
down?
down work on the plan for the patients, because I like that. So I will discuss this with my team tomorrow. Taking notes
Yay!
here. Sorry for the.
No, I love it. I love it. So yeah, no-show fees were a big help for our even though we hardly ever use it, we hardly ever charge it, it's this threat of, oh my gosh, I better remember this because if I don't remember this, it's $100, you
How
know?
do you do it? Do you charge the credit card or block like 100? Okay.
Yeah, when they call and get their appointment, $100 is taken right there. And then it gets credited when they check out. They'll have a $100 credit. If they come in for a consultation and they choose not to do anything, they could use that $100 credit for skincare products or really anything. But it's $100. But they can use it. They can use it for products, but they're going to pay for our time, whether they're there or not. So guess Yeah, so, if they no-show, "Hey, I got a half-hour break, I'm gonna go take my half-hour break," or my employee will take a half-hour break, and I still have enough money to pay them.
Now, it's not learned here in Switzerland, unfortunately, and it's not common in the healthcare industry. But I agree. It's we had 8 no shows yesterday, and that's a nightmare. For various reasons, of course, and some causes are serious, others just forgot. But it's you know it, it's time for us, and other people would like to have an appointment at the same time, and we blocked it for them. So yeah, no, I like that. So, do you measure your patient satisfaction?
No, no, and I think it's a good idea to do that, but we never have. I mean, we send them we have this program that automatically when they leave and they check out, it sends them a quick little text to say, "Hey, were you happy? If so, please leave us a review." And that's kind of measuring it. Patient retention, we run a patient retention analysis with our external group, and that is a measurement. But I don't know how else I can measure it. Do you have a certain way other than that?
We are currently discussing the same topic, and we had an external expert, and he said the most powerful tool, and this tool is also a prediction for the future success of your clinic. You probably don't need it because you have a feeling for your patients, but this is the Net Promoter Score. You have number 1 to 10, and the patient chooses a number on whether he is willing to refer your clinic or your treatment to a friend. And if they choose 9 or 10, they're likely to do it. If they choose 7, they already won't do it. And that's a very smart tool, and there's a whole science behind it, and they can clearly measure where you're standing at and what that means for your clinic and for the patient satisfaction. So we think of implementing that, sending a quick message, but it has to happen quickly, 10 minutes after they leave, on their WhatsApp or SMS, and they only have to press 1, 2, 3, 4, or 9, 10, whatever.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's great because people will do it if it's quick and easy.
Yeah, it's
If
quick and
it's a
easy.
text, oh, I love it. Yeah,
No, it's
I'd love
very
to do that.
easy, and it gives a lot of prediction. It's a lot of clarity, and it's, as I said, there's a whole science behind it. They exactly know when a client presses 6 or 7. It sounds good because it's more than 5, not right 10, but that's already a clear sign that this patient won't refer your clinic or your treatment to someone else. I'll share that with you, and we put it in the captions for anyone who is interested. So, Julie, we are coming to the end of this really amazing podcast. It's since now one of the best. We really had a good, interactive, inspiring conversation. But my last question here is, how do you think is the aesthetic world look like in 30 or 50 years?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, let's hope that let's hope that we're still looking like human beings at that point. Let's hope that uh, anti-aging treatments are very healthy. That we're not hurting ourselves to stay happy and youthful. And let's hope that it stays ethical and loving and caring and a positive thing to do. Because, my grandkids, that's my grandkids. They're 30, 50 years, they're going to be getting treatments. And I'm up to 3 get grandkids now. Uh,
Oh,
and
congratulations.
thank you. I'd really love to, I'm a grandma. But I'd really love for them to look at pictures of their grandma at 55 years old and think, yeah, grandma looked pretty normal, pretty natural, and I hope they're not doing weird things to themselves and to their faces. They're perfect little faces. And I just hope I hope that it's more of what we have now, but the dark side of aesthetics is not there anymore. I don't like seeing weird trends that were distorting our humanness, our humanity. Uh, and for profit. Our food supplies seem to be being ruined for profit. It's so many things that we're doing in our world, our environment is being ruined for profit. Let's just hope that we're not going to ruin our bodies, our faces for profit. And we need to start that now. I don't associate with injectors that are hurting people for profit. So I hope that's a thing of the past, and I hope we have a better planet and better food and better faces.
It couldn't have been said better than that, Julie, so I can't add anything to these perfect ending words. Thank you so much for being on my show. Well, so that was an amazing, inspiring, interactive podcast with Jubilant and Julie. I loved it. I think we shared a lot of information and inspiration. We were talking about patient connection and how important it is for our business. We were talking about the entire environment, how to connect on email, on phone. So I really, really love this podcast. And Julie is such an inspiration and such a warm-hearted person. That was big fun. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Your feedback is so important to us. So please go wherever you listen to this podcast and rate us, review us, and leave some comments. For daily tips and business advice, you also can follow me on Instagram and TikTok under Dr. Felix Bertram. Thank you again for listening, and until next time.